Hey guys, welcome to the episode. As most of you know, I am a strong advocate for all things analog. And in this episode, I just want to talk about this whole culture of consumerism and how it's having an effect on everyone, really, and what you can do about it. Let's get into it. We live in a throwaway culture. Most modern consumer gadgets are designed with planned obsolescence baked in, and to tie users into a pre-planned upgrade cycle. Long gone are the days when devices were made to last for generations, when quality and repairability were highly prioritized. The majority of modern gadgets are designed to fail, or to be replaced in a time and manner dictated by the manufacturer. These oppressive upgrade cycles are not restricted to hardware, as they include drivers and operating systems. For example, here is the support cycle of all versions of the Microsoft Windows operating systems. Have you wondered what happens to the millions of computers which suddenly become unsupported? What happens to these devices and PCs running operating systems with hardware that Microsoft considers antiquated? Why, of course, they end up in your closets, in landfills and disposal sites all over the world, especially in the so-called third world nations. Here are some outstanding metrics. According to the United Nations Institute of Training and Research, UNITAR, in 2022 alone, a staggering 62 million metric tons of electronic waste was generated worldwide. This includes waste from computers, smartphones, and other electronic devices. This is the equivalent of stacking up about 15,000 Eiffel Towers together, or 100 Empire State Buildings, entirely made of electronic waste. To put this in context, the volume of e-waste has nearly doubled since 2010 and is projected to continue rising, potentially reaching 82 million metric tons by 2030. It's a significant challenge, as less than a quarter of this e-waste was properly collected and recycled. We are in an impending global environmental crisis, and it is mostly driven by greed, disguised as capitalism and innovation. In the name of progress, we condemn perfectly working devices to oblivion. Gone are the days when one could swap out parts such as batteries on a whim. These days, instead of replacing a phone battery after its useful life, you will have little choice but to replace the entire phone. This culture of consumerism is driven, in my opinion, by technological giants, often disguised as heroes of the modern digital revolution. When it comes to sustainability, the modern giants of technology seem rudderless, unhinged, and unmoored by greed and capitalism. One such giant is Apple. Apple's wildly popular iPhone was hailed as a technological marvel when it was first released in 2007. But like the famed Trojan horse, it bore some nasty surprises and dealt a deathly blow to the right to repair movement. Apple's design philosophy manifests in two ways that are detrimental to the repairability of their devices. The first is the complexity of their designs, with inaccessible components often tightly sealed into their sleekly designed aesthetic. Secondly, Apple uses a system called part pairing, where certain components like the display and logic board are linked to each other. If a repair involves replacing one of these components, the new part must be paired with the existing hardware, which can only be done by Apple or authorized service providers. With their wild success and lead in innovation, the rest of the industry followed blindly, copying what they saw was Apple's recipe for success. It wasn't long before the majority of smartphones took on the iPhone's aesthetic. The culture of consumerism is so pervasive and poses serious risk to our future on this planet. Earth cannot simply sustain this level of use and abuse of its resources. The rare earth elements that our modern energy-efficient devices depend on are indeed rare, and the acquisition of them have spawned many conflicts in impoverished countries and threaten more conflict in the future. Unbridled consumerism is directly in opposition to the environmental stewardship preached by many of these technological companies. This sleight of hand and tone deafness practiced by modern tech companies can no longer be celebrated nor ignored. There is a need for a shift in our thinking and in our mindset on what we consider as environmentally friendly. A call to action. This is what you can do. Number 1, thrift more. Thrifting is one such practice that I fully engage in and highly recommend to counter this excessive consumerism. Paired with the practice of reconditioning, repurposing, and salvaging thrifted things, this hobby is, in my opinion, the future of sustainable living, a glimmer of hope in a world that is desperate in need of change. By thrifting more, you're not just living a more sustainable lifestyle, you are also making a fashion statement while doing it. Number 2, invest in analog things. Why? Because most analog devices, especially vintage ones, do not rely on software upgrades to operate and are made to last for generations. These devices, ranging from film cameras to old vintage audiovisual devices like CRT televisions, cassettes, and vinyl, are seeing a resurgence in renewed interest, thanks to the curiosity of a new generation who have become quite disillusioned with the seemingly uninspired and repetitive nature of digital technologies. Analog devices are easier to repair with the right know-how and equipment. Vintage analog devices can also easily be configured to run with modern systems, as I showcased recently when I created a connected on-air broadcast system in my home to broadcast streaming media to all of my CRT televisions. Number 3, support the culture. From content creators like myself who advocate for sustainable use of technology to your local repair shop, there are diverse ways in which you can plug into the culture. In conclusion, a significant change in our mindset as a collective is needed to counter this age of consumerism. Let us not wait until resources become scarce or non-existent before we change our lifestyles to favor this beautiful planet that we have been entrusted as stewards. We all have a part to play in this, and it starts with a renewed appreciation for the sustainable technologies, especially analog technologies.